So one of the things they influence, Visual Kei.
Yeah.
I imagine a lot of people here are familiar with Visual Kei. It has had the biggest reach into the US. I think really with anime fans, for whatever reason, it's been able to make it around here.
Yeah, and as you can see, it's very similar to the glam metal that was happening in the 1980s around that time. I mean, not saying that one inspired the other, but they kind of came together and they grew up a little different, but still there.
Yeah, it's a very aesthetic focus, often around over-the-top makeup and hair, androgyny, feminine looks for the men, flamboyant clothes, so on. Very, like as we said, similar to glam. Also, though, they're not always metal. They can be rock bands, but they're really big on the focus here. The second generation is even more focused on just the look. They can be almost any kind of music, but a lot of the bigger ones starting out are, in fact, metal bands. They do have a lot of influence from other groups, like Merbus, who starts using the slogan, visual violence. These are not a Visual Kei band, but they give that idea to the name. Unlike glam, though, in the US, which was quickly very popular in the 80s and then dies out in the 90s, this was very underground during the 80s, for most of the 80s. And then during the 90s, it actually builds up and becomes more popular and starts spreading around.
So let's go through some of the other bands. We have Dead End. They formed in 1984. 1986, they released their first album, Deadline.
Yeah, notably Dead End was possibly the first of this movement to achieve some commercial success in 1986. Not the level of Earthshaker, but still big and started influencing other bands.
And they were signed by a major label. But around 1989, they started to soften.
Yeah, and you'll see this with a lot of these bands. They soften up. By the early 1999, they break up.
Yeah, but that's like we'll get to that.
Yeah. Actually, Japan, possibly one of the ones most people have heard of.
Yeah.
They've really made it to the US and to anime crowds. So they started out as X, which was meant to be a temporary name, but they stuck around.
They're just like a filler here, but whatever, we'll keep it.
Yeah.
And they started in 1984, releasing demos mostly, but then in 1988, they do release their first album, Vanishing Visions.
Yeah, and they're credited as early pioneers of Visual Kei metal. They actually started before Dead End, but and they were active in the underground community earlier, but their major success is shifted later on. They start off pretty heavy with a power metal or speed metal side, but over time they soften as well. They're considered one of the bigger influences on Japanese rock in general and metal over of the time.
That's some of X Japan right there.
Now, some other things about them, there is some rumors that they might have had some Yakuza connections early on. Probably didn't hurt them in the metal crowd.
That's pretty metal. I mean, having a Thanks for connections.
A lot of that had to do with some of their tattoos and things, which in Japan is an even bigger sign that you're related to the Yakuza. More recently, that's changed a little bit, but it's been like that. It's still a strong sign of Yakuza connections. And this has really come up again, particularly with their bassist, Tachi, who died some years back. It was rumored to be suicide, but it was also rumored to be a Yakuza job. Because of some of his connections there.
Question. All right, so that takes us out of the 80s. Before we jump into the 90s, do we have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
Is that the real hair?
As we were discussing, I think it was.
Yeah, we believe
That's
it.
how their hair naturally grows.
And they just go straight out. They do nothing to it. They just wake up in the morning.
That's how Visual Kei they are.
It's called the ultimate bedhead right there.
Anyone else?
Anybody else questions on metal in the 70s, 80s?
Okay.
All right, let's keep on moving. So then we hit kind of the screeching halt to metal across the world, and that is the 1990s. Nirvana released Nevermind in 1991, and that pretty much universally killed metal across the world.
Worse in the U.S. Glam is gone. Like, how many glam bands do you hear now? And in the 90s. You know what? I'm kind of happy about that myself.
Really bad glam bands.
Yes. Yeah. But so that suffers. In Japan, metal suffers as well. Bands that were previously hugely popular are now struggling everywhere. Loudness? Well, let's talk about loudness.
Yeah, so they moved back to Japan from the U.S. So this
They
is
had
one of
moved
the
to the U.S. if we didn't mention to try and push their sound. They really wanted to get into this U.S. market. They did that in like 1990. That time.
And then they started throwing through a lot of line changes. Then you had ex-Japan Shop Shwada joins for a year.
Yeah, and he's not dead yet.
So he's in loudness.
But he's only there for a year, then he goes off and does Dirty Thrash Road. Next few years are pretty turbulent. With other replacements. They have members from Izo, another big band, on both vocals and drums. They get the bass player from Anthem, and then they're kind of a super group in the 90s. Struggling, but they're a super group.
That's the way you stay alive. When the metal's dying, you gotta put together a super group.
Over time, Earthshaker, their sound goes for a more pop rock sound, and it's still kind of that way. But they do break up in the mid-90s as well. Anthem, the rise of Visual Kei even, and grunge, hurt their ability to continue, so they disbanded in 1992. All these bands dying off, it happens in the US, it happens to these big players here.
But you could say there was some upsides to it.
Yeah,
No,
Sakimatsu is still going strong until the end of the century.
Yeah, with their prophecy. Then ex-Japan still pretty popular.
The ex-Japan, as we said, was actually getting more popular during this time. Visual Kei is surviving during this time. But they do break up in 1998, because it seems like there were some traumatic things going behind the scenes. Maybe they were losing money, maybe the Yakuza was on their back. I don't know. So there are a few prominent bands starting during this time, but not a lot.
Starting more than that get prominent service.
And then started. But here
Then we get into the metal revival.
Yes.
And this is metal revival all over the world, not only Japan. You have major influential bands start to reunite just around the 2000s.
Yeah. Metal gains much popularity, new bands emerge, things are going great. Where do we look to start this? Where did I say we should always look with anything changing in metal?
Black Sabbath.
There you
That's
go.
right. So, Black Sabbath, the big three in general, but Black Sabbath really starts everything off again. Ozzy rejoined Black Sabbath in 1997 and stays there until 2006. Long enough to get metal back on its toes, I guess. After that,
Smith rejoined Maiden in 2000.
yeah,
Rob Halford even rejoins Judas Priest, which was a big thing when he left.
yeah, in 2003. So in this same frame, the big three all reuniting.
And so that leads us to the metal revival in Japan. Loudness, they reunite.
Yeah, the main 1981 lineup gets back together between 2000 and 2001. They were going to do a reunion tour, and then they said, let's stick together.
It's just a reunion everything from now.
Yeah, and after 7 years, their drummer dies, and they say, well, we're done. But Then in 2009, they get back together with a new drummer to say, hey, we're going to release new stuff till this year. I think they have something else in the works right now.
30 albums though. 30 albums over there currently.
Yeah, these guys are busy. They're no longer lazy.
No longer lazy.
Yeah.
Then we have Anthem. They reunite in 2000, and they're still making music.
Yeah, they released Engrave this year, and they're still pretty hard to find in the US, unfortunately. I don't know why, but anyone wondering if they're still hard? Remember, everyone else was softening up. Is the Anthem still hard? I don't know, Brian.
Are we gonna find out?
This is what they released when they come back.
好きなだけその首を振るんだ I'm just a child, covering on the couch in life. 今の決まってることさえできない Everybody screaming, come on! Voices I can hear now. Faces like you hear, yeah. Voices I can catch now.
All right, so now we're gonna jump into some of the bands. I'm sorry, I almost missed one. Flower Traveling Band.
Remember the guys that started off?
They reunite in 2007.
Yeah, they break up when their vocalist dies in 2011. Note about their vocalist, something he did in between this time, after leaving Flower Traveling Band, was replace Bob Marley with the Wailers.
Not a bad way to spend your time when you're not making heavy metal.
So this guy, who is huge in Japanese metal and starting off, also decides to join one of the most iconic reggae bands.
Of all time. No, the most
Yeah.
quintessential reggae band.
Pretty much. So he's all over the place. He also stars in Yakuza movies as an action star, and in between, visiting his good buddies, Yoko Ono and John Lennon. Well, John Lennon, he was friends with John Lennon too. So there you go. Well, I mean, things happen.
All right, so let's talk about some of the bands that really
new bands.
really hitting the scenes in the 2000s. Now we start off with Sex Machineguns. I believe we had somebody who knew this one outside. They formed in 1989, released their first demo in 95, first album in 98. So they're creeping along. They're taking their time. But their first real album is their first one that hits the charts is in 2001.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, the 98 one does hit the charts, but by 2001, they peak at number 7 on the charts. This is a metal band in the top 10 on these charts. Huge. They've possibly become the most popular Japanese metal band during the early 2000s. In Japan, at least, there are a few rivals to that, though. Every album they've released makes the charts, though. These guys are huge. A lot of them do come down from there, but still, they're huge. What's special about them, though? Why are they helping things come back up?
Well, number one, they have a pretty cool name.
Yes, Sex Machineguns.
They're just up
You
in the
may
ante
be
on Sex
thinking,
Pistols.
are they pulling from Sex Pistols? Yes. They said, well, we're faster, we're more aggressive, we're better. And so there we go, so we're Machine Guns. They do a form of shock metal, and it is kind of a humorous form of shock metal, so they like to play around, and that helps things. They mix in a whole bunch of different elements. They mix in some power metal, they mix in some thrash, they mix in some other kinds of extreme, and Japan likes that. They do, though, back it all up with lots of technical skill, and we'll see that in a second. And their videos are pretty attention-grabbing. That helps them as well. Here's one of theirs. Another one comes up. Deer on Gray, someone mentioned that already. Okay, so they formed in 1997 in Osaka. They do Visual Kei, at least early on. 1998, two of their independently produced songs make it into the top 10 on the Oricon charts. Independently produced songs in the top 10. That is just insanity.
Given to this day is extremely rare.
I don't know if I've ever heard that happening any other time.
I don't know how.
Yeah,
I'm sure
well,
we dive in there, but yeah.
the early part of 1999, then they released 5 singles, which Japan's big on. They like to release a lot of singles that don't make up, well, also that don't show up on their albums. These are arranged by and produced by ex-Japan's Yoshiki Hayashi. So we see ex-Japan's influence in there. The first album, Gauze, or Gauze, however you want to pronounce it, released later that year. And in 2000, they toured Japan and end in Nippon Budokan. Again, we said, biggest venue there is. It's a big thing. They do that in 2001. This is showing metal is back.
Yep, it's back. And then they start taking their metal all over the world. In 2005, they tour Europe, sell out concerts all over the place without any major promotions because they're doing a lot of the stuff independently.
Yeah.
Then in 2006, they tour the U.S. and play with other big metal bands.
Yeah. Some anime tie-in. In 2000, their single Child Parade becomes very popular as the opening theme of Baki the Grappler. So they're back also in the anime world. But of course everyone is because Animetal is there, right? Yeah. By the end of that year of 2006 though, after they've been touring the US, their video for Saku is voted #1 of the Video of the Year on MTV2's Headbangers Wall, showing a high popularity and success in the US, which is rare for a Japanese band. What's special about them? Well, they're again an avant-garde type in various ways. Their music bridges the gap between several genres. It shifts around. Again, they like to use different elements. They don't stay in one place. They're all over the place. And people like that. They do come up as a Visual Kei band while Visual Kei is at its height, while it's very popular. So that's not hurting them either.
The next band we have is Onmyo-za.
Onmyo-za.
It's a very fun name to say. But they formed in 1999 again in Osaka. So Osaka is almost becoming like the Seattle of grunge. It's becoming the metal revival era.
Yeah. They released their first album in late 1999. In 2002, their albums finally started making the Oricon charts for the first time. Third and fourth albums released the same year. Again, a band releasing 2 albums in 1 year. It's unheard of. Yeah, and both make the Oricon charts. All right, things are going well for you, I guess. Subsequent albums continue to chart as they gain popularity, and they peak in 2008 at #9 on the charts. But they haven't really fallen far behind there. They got 13, so they're not really far behind. What's special about them?
Well, they mix elements of the new wave of British heavy metal. That's what that long abbreviation is for. I think it's faster to say new wave of British heavy metal than NWOBHM.
And they mix that with Japanese folk and pop, and some power rock in there too. This carries over to their themes and the name. The name means the joining of yin and yang, or convergence of yin and yang, however you want to end up translating it. It's found in their style. They contrast their male and female vocals. They have both, and they utilize them very well. Not all bands can do it properly, but they do.
Well, it's hard to just switch from a male vocalist to a female vocalist in most genres, let alone do it all in the same song.
They're visually unique, which, as you can kind of see in there, they're using Heian period traditional dress. Why not? Hey, it's cool. And unlike many other bands, Japan in general, they don't incorporate English into their songs. They don't incorporate English into their lyrics. They're not trying to go for that English audience in any way. We have it in this form. Mostly you just see their name in Japanese characters. They don't care about us. They're, for some reason, though, easier to find than Anthem, just saying. They do also have some other big things going on. Their hit song, Kagu non Nin Honcho, was made for Basilisk theme in 2005. I think that also helped them pop there a little bit, because Basilisk is a big deal. But what do we have going on here with these metal revival guys? There's a common theme. They're mixing elements, they're aggressive, they do a lot of visuals, and maybe they're all from Osaka.
Maybe.
We're actually not sure. I've been trying to find whether Sex Machineguns starts in Osaka or not. No one seems to know. But if they do, then apparently Osaka is what saves metal.
There you go.